Welcome to the Social Skills Channel. Learn to connect with others for professional, personal, and long-term wellness, success, health, and friendship arises with social skills.
Is more common than ever. Yet building meaningful connections is a skill you can learn. I'm sharing a proven course on social skills. Based on modern science and current research, this 4-module program provides practical tools to transform your relationships. Here's what you'll learn. Module 1. You'll discover why authentic connection is better for long-term health and wellness than diet or exercise. Module 2. You'll learn what System 1 and System 2 thinking are, why so many interactions feel automatic, and how to create deep and meaningful engagement. Finally, Module 3 provides actionable skills. You'll learn confidence strategies like the actor's method, and a simple, powerful tool for initiating and maintaining conversations with most people. We've included timestamps so you can jump to any module. But for the best results, please watch the whole course once, and most importantly, practice. These skills are learned by doing. The more you practice, the quicker you'll master them and enrich your life. Let's begin.
Welcome, my friends, to Dynamic Dialogue, a mini course on the science and awe of connection. So why work on communication? Do we really need just one more thing in our busy lives to worry about, what with diet, exercise, work, and sleep? Who has the time? While we will cover the science of connection and its power to change lives later in the course, it is good to know now how strong social connections lead to better health, business and personal success, and longer and a happier life. And I know the awe of connection from my own story. My story. When our son was just 6 months old, we noticed something that disturbed us. His left eye was slightly protruding. So we made an appointment with a neurologist. And our neurologist said to us that he did not know exactly what was going on, but he wanted to do exploratory surgery. He wanted to cut into our baby. That night I got onto the phone and went to Children's Hospital in Seattle. Seattle's Children's Hospital was able to diagnose exactly what was going on with him without doing the exploratory surgery. Our son has a condition called NF1. And on his first birthday, he had brain and skull surgery. Throughout the whole process, it was our communication skills that saved us both time and money. We're not rich by any stretch of the imagination. So when we were able to use our skills to get our son help from the National Institute of Health, we were able to get him the best care possible, and it didn't cost us anything. This is what communication does for you. It is the power and the success that comes from being able to connect with others. So who am I that I should teach you? I am a certified influence and communication coach through the Cialdini Institute. For those unfamiliar with Robert Cialdini, He is the world's most formidable expert on influence. Throughout his career, he was able to discover the 7 principles of influence and publicize those in his work as a social scientist in his famous books, both Influence and Persuasion. I also have over 15 years of experience in interviewing different business owners. I also have a master's and a bachelor's in creative writing. Course outline, what to expect. It is based in 3 different modules. Module 1 is why of communication, the need for communication for our long-term success. It's the science. Module 2 is the foundation, connection, and wonder. It's the structure of connection. Finally, Module 3 is OPA, the flaming cheese of connection. Here are the practical tools you can use every day to connect. It'll consist of quizzes, though we will not have any homework. Yay! Instead, we are going to have practical homework or life work in which you take the work to your life, not apart from it. And finally, it's all about practice, practice, practice. The more you learn to connect with others, the better it'll be for you. And finally, to get the most out of this course, after finishing the coursework, take the next 30 days to practice and use the resources to make a difference in your life. Make connections a habit. Use the communication tools. Wonder as a doorway, signal listening, the actor's tip for body language, practice the magic 36 questions, learning the practice of deep connection, and finally, of course, OPA, the flaming cheese of connection. To fully transform your communication, use the community forum included in the course and take 5 minutes to post how each of the 30 days is going with the tools. In our community, you can get and give support in a caring space to help you transform your life through connecting with others. And of course, don't forget to have fun. Communication is about creating deep and lasting connections with others. Module 1, Part 1, The Science and the Why of Communication. Question: what is the most important element for your health? Diet, exercise, or social connection? If you answered C, social connections, you're right. Strong social connections are tied to health, happiness, and success. The Grant Study, the Harvard study of adult development. It is the longest study of human happiness on record. Since 1938, Harvard University has followed a group of 266 students, their families, and their relationships for over 85 years through their lives' ups and downs. And what did they find after all those years? The number one element for a happy and successful life was strong social connections. To quote directly from the study, contrary to what many people think, it's not career achievement or exercise or healthy diet, writes the authors, though those things matter too, they add. Instead, one thing continually demonstrates its broad and enduring importance: good relationships. The research is clear. Strong social connections, they found, not only increase one's health, happiness, and success. Researchers estimate it can increase human longevity by 50%. Our next question: what do we spend the most on for our health? A, diet and weight loss. B, exercise programs. C, improving our communication. Answer: B, exercise program. We spend $333 billion on exercise, followed by diet and wellness, and we spend $289 billion on it, while to improve our communication, it is a paltry $2.2 billion if you include mindfulness training. Strange, isn't it? Also, factor in our current loneliness epidemic and the mystery of why we don't spend time and resources on social connection only deepens the why. The social scientist Robert B. Putnam documented the fraying of our social connections in his 2000 book, Bowling Alone. In his book, he documented during the 1900s, most Americans belonged to 7 groups. By 2000, it was down to 1. In the 20 years since the book's publication came out, the trends of weakening social threads have only frayed more. The smartphone and social media have only added to the problem. Which begs the question: have we lost the ability to communicate? And how can we learn to communicate again? Unfortunately, communication education currently is more about how we can get our message over to the other or influence another. Seldom it's about creating dialogue. Yet, only in dialogue can we build strong connections. How important is dialogue to strong connections? Another story. As a grad student and a college kid, I have been a waiter for many years, and during that time, I've probably seen hundreds of first dates. And in those first dates, I have noticed the biggest problem with connection. In the hundreds of those first dates, maybe I can remember 1 or 2 where I thought they were successful. Most were failures with awkward silence, or one person bragging while the others are just sitting there listening. There was an annoyance that wasn't read, and they were clueless as to how to connect, and definitely a lack of listening. That's very strange if you think about it, because they've already agreed to go out, so there was this connection, but somehow they did not find a way to break through their problem. So how important is dialogue? Dialogue, the problems of the first date can be boiled down to the fact that they were more concerned with how they came across rather than connecting with another, which brings up the most important part of communication. You have to be open to the other, being open to be changed by the encounter. Dialogue begins when we get out of our head and are open to transformation. Here it's good to pause on one of the most common killers of conversation. The danger is shared monologues. So what is a shared monologue? A shared monologue is when you're thinking about what you're going to be saying the next time you get an opening rather than listening to the other person. So we are not present to the other person, we are actually present in our own head. So we are stuck in our heads. Only when we can get out of our own heads can we deepen our connections. You might be thinking, it seems like a lot. Can we master conversation? Now later on in the course, we will be getting some tools that make it easier, but it's good to remind ourselves that success is dependent a lot upon our communication. If you remember the old adage, we are told that it's not what you know, but who you know. But that's not correct. Rather, it's not what we know, but how deep our connections are and the strength of our dialogue. So how important is dialogue? Story time. Imagine a temporary building that was freezing in the winter, hot and stuffy in the summer, and that was only supposed to last a few years at the most. MIT Building 20 was only to house the radar lab for the duration of World War II, but when MIT was flooded with returning World War II vets, MIT decided to keep it for the working space for what they thought would be a couple of years. They tended to place and house a wide range of different oddball labs, groups, and professors. After all, it was just supposed to be temporary space. But Building 20 lasted until 1998, 55 years. In its 55-year history, it earned the nickname the Magic Incubator because arguably it was one of the greatest creative spaces ever in human history. The innovations there are probably too many to catalog for our purposes, but to touch on a few. From linguistics, Bose audio advancements, hacker culture, innovations in semiconductors and photography were all born in its halls. Many speculate that the reason for the productivity was those who made their home in Building 20 was it created a space for creativity and conversation. Moreover, because the space was so chaotic, it was easy to get lost, so it created a dynamic where researchers in diverse fields would engage with each other, making dialogue inevitable between different fields. So while Building 20 was extraordinary in the creativity it incubated, it is not alone in the human history of creative groups and spaces. We talk about creative circles, whether those circles are literary, philosophical, or scientific. Think of ancient Athens with Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and the flowering of Western thought. Or think of the development of quantum physics and relativity in early 20th century Germany. or think of the Manhattan Project to develop the atomic bomb, or even in Cambridge in the discovery of DNA. And then there's the great literary circles. It seems that great writers run in packs. So why is that? All these groups have in common is they are based in dialogue. Creative genius seems to arise not out of solitary individuals, rather out of dialogue between individuals. If we want to solve the puzzle to our own creativity, it seems that we have to master dialogue with other people. So we've come to the end of Module 1. What science says about communication. Module 1. What science says. The takeaways. Social connections are better than exercise or diet for your health. Social connections lead to long-term success and wellness. Social connections are the source of creativity. We've included several resources, including links to the various studies that we alluded to in this module. We will next turn in Module 2 to the mindset we need for productive dialogue. Module 2, the mindset. The foundations of communication. First, we'll look at the philosophy of dialogue, focusing on the work of philosopher Martin Buber. Next, we'll look at the psychological concerns, focusing on Daniel Kahneman and behavioral economics. Finally, we'll look at wonder and curiosity, the very context of conversation. Now let us turn to the philosophy of Martin Buber and his foundational story of how he developed his philosophy. Martin Buber was a recognized Jewish leader, teacher, and also a Jewish mystic. Once he was in deep prayer when he heard a knock on his door. He went down and answered it, and there before him was a young man who wanted nothing more than to speak. Martin Buber, though annoyed at being interrupted in his prayers, did invite the young man in to share a cup of coffee. They sat and had a very shallow, but nothing too dramatic of a conversation, though Martin Buber did sense that the boy actually wanted to talk about something deeper. Later on, as the time came back, Martin Buber kept looking at his clock, and he made some gestures, and the young boy picked up on the clues, and he left. Later, Martin Buber found out that the young boy went and killed himself. And it's from this perspective and understanding that Martin Buber started to look at what dialogue actually means. The philosophy he developed was that of what he called the two worlds. Martin's philosophy of dialogue is a twofold attitude of its and relationship. When you look at the world as objects, other people as objects, basically you are in the world of I, it. And when you are in the world of I, it's limited. Even if you're treating people as he or she, you created them as objects to be manipulated. In what he called the I-thou world, You enter into a relationship with the other person. Or, in other words, you break them out of the boundaries from which you placed them. Inherently, they become a mystery. You are engaged the whole of the person. So what does this have to do with communications? Let's look at the I-it. When we see the world as objects in which we are manipulating even ourselves as objects, we're engaging others as things. And a thing is also a he or a she. Things are inherently dead or not living. So when we are thinking of things as things, we can't engage them as living beings. And this opens up to one of these key insights, that the I of the I-it is different than the I of the I-thou. We fail to open out to the universe of another when we treat them as objects. There is always more to learn about the other. This is a very important point. The I is different in the I-it from the I-thou. The I-thou opens us up to the mystery of another and ourselves. We do not manipulate others or even ourselves. Rather, we treat the other as living beings, including ourselves, and a means to open the door to the I-thou relationship. So by being on the lookout for an I-thou relationship, we can open the door to communication. Some may walk into an I-thou relationship or not, but only by keeping the door open can someone walk through the door. So what is the takeaways from Martin Buber's philosophy? Communication is the purpose of life, and in real connections, we are our most authentic and alive self. We find our true selves in I-thou relationships. So that's the philosophy of Martin Buber. So next, let's look at Daniel Kahneman, the winner of the Nobel Prize for, and this may be surprising once you understand, he won it for economics. Even though he is not an economist or even has ever studied economics. At this point, you may be wondering why we are studying someone who is known for economics in a communications class. First, let's turn to his work. Daniel Kahneman, with his partner Amos Tversky, were psychologists who together founded and forwarded the field of behavioral economics. How do humans make decisions? This is a burning question that in the late 60s, when the two psychologists first met, and drove their friendships. The two psychologists formed a deep friendship and would spend days mulling over how humans make decisions. Do we make decisions because we are rational creatures, or was there something else? Before their work, economists thought human beings made decisions based on self-interest, and self-interest was defined by our economic interest. It was all about the money, and how we made money was how we connected with other people. The two did not go out to challenge this theory. Rather, they started asking what actually makes people decide certain things. Through experiments, these two found that human decisions are based more on automatic responses that follow from our biases, and these biases are predictable. They cataloged many of these biases. Daniel Kahneman, towards the end of his career, cataloged all his findings in a book, Thinking Fast and Slow. This book naturally became a bestseller. In his book, Daniel Kahneman lays out a metaphor for how he understands human nature as twofold. System 1, our automatic way of thinking. System 2, slow, thoughtful attention. So let's look at the automatic way of being versus the slower human way of being, I guess is the best way to say it. Let's look at System 1 versus System 2. The characteristics of System 1 are it's fast, subconscious, automatic, it uses rules of thumb, and prone to errors, and works most of the time. The characteristics of System 2 is it's slow, conscious, effortful, and tiring, complex, creative, and the source of where we get dialogue. Let's take a closer look at System 1. System 1 is the brain's way of encoding mundane or repetitive action as automatic so it doesn't take too much. It's not wrong. The other word we have for System 1 is experience. Let's take a look at a common experience, that of driving a car. When we first learn to drive a car, everything is new, we have to think of everything, and it's tiring. What System 1 does is it encodes the various processes to drive. It almost becomes automatic. We've all had that experience of once we become an experienced driver of getting into the car driving and forgetting various different things that automatically come about, like turn signals. When we're first learning to drive, that's when most of the accidents happen. Why? Because our brains can't handle too much information. So System 1 makes it automatic. That's why the best driving is done by System 1. System 1 is the body's way of saving energy by automizing various tasks, and it is powerful, but it presents problems in connecting. Many of us have that experience of speaking to someone and it seems like they're on automatic and we can't seem to break through. Since System 1 is automatic with snapped opinions, it dampens dialogue. We have to be aware of System 1 in ourselves and our conversation partners. Keep in mind, we have to connect to System 2 for real dialogue so that the challenge is to overcome System 1 in conversations. The question naturally arises, but how? We have to be unusual in the way we start conversations. We will give tools for this in Module 3. For now, we need to be aware of the challenge. So what is our takeaways from the work of Daniel Kahneman and behavioral economics? To communicate, we have to be aware of System 1 when speaking with others. Now let's look at the last foundation, wonder and curiosity. In dialogue, we always have to create a sense of wonder or curiosity. Finally, for this last section, we are going to look at the foundation of dialogue that is usually forgotten, wonder and curiosity. Do you know who you're talking to? We are taught to be open when talking to another, yet two problems arise, one with strangers and one with people we know. The first one, when we are meeting a new person, the question becomes friend or foe, a natural question. It's a natural question that comes from biology when we're trying to figure whether they are a friend or if they are a threat. It leads to a snap judgment or into an I-it, which of course leads to treating them as an object and problem with connecting with them. The second one, when we know another, we already have a set idea about who they are. Built on our history of who they are, we make them into a machine-like attitude. In a sense, we're looking into a mirror of who we think they are. We turn them into an I-it out of familiarity. So how do we get out of the trap and start using wonder and curiosity as a way of getting closer to them? How do we use wonder and curiosity? It's too easy to say don't judge, because sometimes we need to in order to survive. But when we encounter the vastness of another person, it makes us pause and turn around. We have to acknowledge in the other person a vastness that we cannot touch, only explore. And wonder and curiosity are the only tools of exploration. So what is wonder and curiosity? Wonder and curiosity are different. Both are useful in communication. Wonder is defined by a general mystery, always something new to learn. It's never complete, and there's always something new to learn. Curiosity is a specific mystery and asks questions with an answer and ends with that answer. Wonder will always ask, who is that person? Curiosity will be more along the lines of, is that person smart? Wonder and curiosity both are good for communication. Wonder is a general exploration of the other, while curiosity is a specific exploration of the other. Approaching another wanting to learn something new does not invalidate previous knowledge. If they've been nice to us before, it doesn't mean that they are not going to be nice to us now. Now, there's something to be aware of with curiosity when you're exploring something specific. Learning a specific new part of them, like asking about their best birthday, puts a limit on the conversation. Either you have to ask a new question or the conversation ends. How important is wonder to communication? Let us tell a story. Wonder, the tale of the boy who wanted to fish but didn't. Once there was a boy who heard a magical tale of a lake that was teeming with fish. When he heard where it was located, he jumped on his bike and biked to the trailhead. But there, at the start of the trailhead, was a cactus, and he tried to get by it. But he got hurt. Then he started to think about maybe there wasn't a lake. Maybe he was told a lie about it. Soon, he didn't think there was a lake. It wasn't worth the effort, even though he loved to fish. He kept thinking, why should I go? And that made him stop. He then went home defeated, with no fish and nothing but pain. And aren't we like the little boy that when we get to a crossroads with someone else, something happens and then suddenly we stop in our judgment of the other person. Our initial evaluation of the person becomes a judgment, rock solid in stone, and that keeps us from friendship with the other. Only when we can overcome this judgment can we build to true friendship. Wonder doesn't mean that we have to ignore past, only that we can expand it knowing that another person is much larger than what we think they are. So now, what are the takeaways from this understanding of wonder? Always remember that another human being is a whole universe unto themselves. We can only touch their vastness, never own it. Both wonder and curiosity can help you explore the vastness of another person. So we have come to the end of Module 2 on the foundations of communication. And what have we learned? The end of Module 2 and a recap. How do we fit this in the puzzle of communication? 1. I and thou, the difference between relating to others rather than treating others as objects. We are most alive in relationships. System 2. Number 2. We all have automatic way of being. To connect with another, we have to engage to the thinking part of ourselves and not the automatic way of the other. 3. Wonder and curiosity are the tools to connect. We can never know the whole of the other, and there's always more to learn. There will be some resources about the various foundations of communication. Next up, Module 3. Practical tools and skills. Putting it all together. Number 1, we'll go through signal listening versus active listening. Number 2, the body language to use. And finally, OPA, the flaming cheese of connection. We put the puzzle pieces together. So let us talk about listening and the power of listening. Isn't listening just shutting up? We've all had that experience of awkward silence because we stopped talking. Listening is more than stopping talking. It means being present to the other and communicating to the other that you're listening to them. The question is how? Like people of the internet age, we'll jump onto our computer or smartphone and we'll Google listening. And we get good advice. 1, be present. 2, make eye contact. 3, listen to understand. And withhold judgment and advice. You'll also get the term active listening. Now, there's nothing wrong with active listening, only that there's a better way to look at it. what we want to do is signal listening. The reason why is for perspective. What signal listening does for us. The tale of the tape. Active listening versus signal listening. Active listening, the perspective is, what am I doing? And so our focus becomes on ourselves. Now, signal listening is a little different. We are actually paying attention to the other person. Are they understanding that we are actually listening to them? Now, this perspective issue may just seem like semantics. What is really the difference between active versus signal listening? But it's not. When you actively listen, you're actually looking at yourself, and you've lost your attention to the other. You're asking, am I doing the things to make myself look like I'm actively listening to them? It is about me, and me. But signal listening, we take a broader view and we start looking at the other person and how they are reacting. Our attention is on the other. We're looking to make sure that they understand what we're saying and listening to them. Active listening makes us the star in the conversation. It is all about attention to myself and my actions. And once our attention is on ourselves, we stop listening to the other. In signal listening, in contrast, we are pointing to the other with our attention. We are asking whether they are receiving our signals, that we are paying attention to them. Then our focus is naturally on them. Now, don't take my word for it. Try it in your next conversation. Now, let's move on from listening to the next element that we will need in great communication, that of body language. Again, there's a great deal of great advice out there about the best body language for connection and communication. And again, we can see how important the body language is in our sense of trying to connect with people. And we're given things like keep your straight back, use your hands parallel to your chest, open postures are best, keep making eye contact, be as large as possible in your communication. Overwhelmed yet? Since we can only hold 7 things in our short-term memory, there is no way we can keep up with all of the advice. So what are we going to do? And then add all the other things that we need. Is there a better way? On top of practicing body language, you have to remember to signal listen. It's too much for one human being to do. That's the problem with body language. There's too much to remember. We can practice, but again, it's too much. Fortunately, let's look at a solution. Have you ever wondered how actors can both remember all their lines and yet convey emotion? One of the things that we're going to be learning about is how they do that. And they do it by what is called method acting. Method acting simply is the process of remembering and reliving an emotion, whether it be angry or excited, or in our case, successful. The key is to remember and relive a successful moment, and your body language will naturally follow. So, how do you use this method in conversation? How do you be a winner in your next conversation? I remember when my baby was first born and how powerful I felt, and I keep on to that memory as I go into a new social interaction. I relived that moment that I first saw my baby and the energy I had, and suddenly my body language follows without me trying. I have several similar memories that I relive before I go into a social interaction. These will put both my mind and body language ready for a conversation. Again, it may take some practice, but it's well worth it. Try it. Finally, let us get to the last tool in the toolbox, probably the most important one. Opa, the flaming cheese of connection. When I was going to school and was a waiter at a Greek restaurant, there was a famous dish that we would serve called saganaki. And in it, we would approach the customer with a cheese, alcohol, and then suddenly we would light the alcohol on fire and go, Opa! But for our purposes, it's not an appetizer. Rather, it is an acronym. I want you to think of the cheese as you think of Opa. Opa is simply open-ended questions, paraphrasing, and asking if your paraphrase was correct. So let us take each of the acronym letters one at a time. What is O? O stands for open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are opposed to closed-ended questions. Open-ended questions have multiple answers, while closed-ended questions usually have two, one or the other. As an example, closed-end question like, do you like summer? Has yes or no answer. Open-ended questions, what do you like most about summer? Have multiple answers. The power of open-ended questions is that they have multiple possibilities rather than a simple one-word answer of yes or no. Here we have to pause for a word of caution. If you ask normal, everyday questions, even if they're open-ended questions, like how's the weather, what do you do, what you're usually going to find is the same automatic way of being. That's system 1, so you haven't broken into system 2. In other words, if you ask a robot question, you'll get a robot answer. You should choose unusual, non-threatening questions for the best results. We've included a list at the end of the course of such questions. Though for best results, you should start thinking up your own questions. It gets easier as you go through the process. Our next letter is P. P is for paraphrasing what you heard. When you repeat what you heard in your own words, you're signaling to the other person that you are actually listening to them. It may take some practice, but the more you work on it, the better you'll become in paraphrasing their response. The next natural question becomes whether your paraphrase has to be correct, whether it's right. Which brings us to our next letter. A is for asking if what you heard or said is correct. It's important to ask, because when you're asking, even if you're not correct, you're building a bond with the other person. And you're again signaling that you're listening to them. You can ask verbally or with body language, like a nod or a smile after the paraphrase. Here are some common ways of asking. You confirm verbally. What I heard, is that right? You are saying, or the countless other ways of saying the same thing. The key is to use your own words to make sure that they sound natural. So that is OPA, a very powerful tool. A simple tool that can easily be mastered and that can lead to more powerful connections. How powerful? Well, that's what we'll be turning next to. A really interesting study. In 1997, the 36-question study was published by Arthur Aaron. It was a fascinating study in which he had pairs of volunteers sit down, strangers, mind you, and ask each other several questions, 36 to be exact, which started from very basic questions to far more intimate. What they found was that the people who went through the 36 questions always felt closer. Some actually ended up in romantic relationships and married. In your resource section, we've included those 36 questions as well, including directions as to how to use them. Please use them wisely and be honest when you ask someone to go through the 36 questions with you. So those are the simple tools and skills that you can master that will improve your communication skills. Next, we'll look at the 30-day communications challenge. It is not enough to just know the skills. You have to use the tools in order to increase your ability. And to practice the different communication skills for the next 30 days. You will find that they get easier and easier, and you end up learning more and connecting deeper. Putting it all together. In your resources, we've added a PDF reminder card. Use the PDF reminder card every morning and make an effort to talk to a new person for the next 30 days. Number 1, prepare by remembering a successful memory. 2, remember to signal to the other person that you are listening. 3, in the conversation, use OPA. Also, don't forget to use the community forum to support others and find support for yourself during the next 30 days. And remember to have fun as you're learning these new skills to create a lasting new life. Finally, thank you for your time. May you connect with others in a deeper way.